welcome back to Crook Tribe. So today I have a fun, simple craft for you guys since fall's right around the corner and we've all been home with not a lot to do. This gives you something fun and quick and simple. I like quick, simple crafts. So here we go. All you need for this project today is a pumpkin, like a craft pumpkin, or just some random, just one of those little cheap pumpkins you get from Walmart or Target. Any of those would be good for this project. Mine I got at Hobby Lobby. It's a cardboard papered crafting pumpkin, and I got it for $9.99, 40% off, of course, because they always run their sales. You also need hot glue and lots of extra glue sticks, more than likely. Paint. I'm using a chalk paint today, and because that's what I had, and I'm going with a white and then brown paints for the stem with a little bit of a coppery gold accent as well. And then you're going to need some paintbrushes, whatever you have. Bigger ones probably better for your surface area. And then I also have is some accent ribbon to tie off on the stem for once we're done. So let's get started. The first thing that I would recommend doing is, oh, well, of course, I forgot to tell you what we're making. We're making a sweater pumpkin. So with this, I would recommend drawing out your pattern first. Just play around with some different designs. I played out with this XV dash pattern, so that's what I'm going to apply first to the cardboard pumpkin. So on the big bulky ridge is where we're going to put the X's, and then next to the X I'm going to put the V, and then down the center, these indented lines, is where I'm going to put the dashes. So this is gonna take a little bit of time, but it's really not a challenging project. It's kind of cathartic. You just sit here and draw away. So let's get started. It's really up to you how you want the size of your pattern to be, and it really depends on the size of your pumpkin as well. All right, so that just gives you an idea. Oops. So this just gives you an idea of how it's going to look as you get started. All right, next I'll start the V so you can see where that goes. Right now it just looks kind of silly. It's just like a bunch of marker on the pumpkin. What is it gonna look like? But once you apply the hot glue on top and we paint it, it's really gonna transform it. So next we're going to add the dashes, and I'm just giving you a little look first, and then I will continue the design and then fast forward a bit so you don't have to watch all the way through all the drawing process, because it's really just repetitive. So that is how it will look, and it will just continue around. This gives you a general idea with a little bit more done of how it's going to look. Now I do not want to take the design all the way to the stem. I don't want to take it all the way up here. I'm stopping kind of where this ridge starts right here. Now that our sketch is all done on our pumpkin, we are going to get ready for the hot glue. So this part, again, I come back to your sketch sheet and just practice on your sketch sheet first, because it will take a little bit of a steady hand. You're gonna have to go slow at it, don't go fast, and squeeze your glue gun easily. Don't just give it a good old whopping squeeze right away, because it'll come gushing out. So start slow, and I know you get those spider web strings off of the glue, but that's okay. You can just go back, and it is a little bit tedious, but you can go back and kind of just peel those off, the little hairs that'll happen. But I'll show you a way to try to not get those. It's kind of like frosting a cake. If you've ever used a piping bag, you kind of just want to draw back, so that way you don't get those hairs or the extended gush of hot glue. Now I am using a cake board to work on as my work surface. It's super handy if you have like random cardboard or an old plastic tablecloth, or any type of work surface, so that way you don't have hot glue all over your table and then we'll end up painting. So definitely cover your work surface. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a closer look. I'm gonna pan in so you guys can see better. So while you're hot gluing, I'm gonna just show you a couple things that you kind of need to be up close to see. When I'm squeezing my glue gun, I'm following the shape that I drew out, but before I complete to the end of this line, I let go of my trigger so it doesn't keep coming out, and I come back this way. I come up. So let me show you that. So right here I'm coming down and I let go of my trigger, and then I'm gonna come back so that little string lays into the hot glue itself. Now another little tip you might need is to use a toothpick. When you're hot gluing your design, if it came out in kind of a glob, while the glue is drying, it becomes pliable where you can manipulate the shape a little bit into how you have it drawn out on your pumpkin. So grab a toothpick, it'll help you. Guys, so we are done with the hot glue portion of our pumpkin, and just to show you a quick little look, dun, 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 it's all lined up with hot glue. So our next thing to do is to go ahead and paint it. Now I chose white. You can choose whatever color you want, the sweater pumpkin to be orange, gray, you know, whatever your creativity says. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I got my water, got my paint, and going to start applying it. Here we go. You just want to get a good coat on there to start off, but you can kind of see how this is turning out. You can use whatever kind of paint you want. I just personally love the way chalk paint looks, so you could use an acrylic. I wouldn't use an oil-based. I would stick with acrylic or chalk paint. You just want to tap your brush around those little grooves where your hot glue is that maybe your marker didn't touch. So now that the first coat is done, we're gonna let that dry and kind of get off any other little of the hot glue strands that you see coming off on your brush. The brush that I use is just an old cheapy horsehair brush. I buy them in a big pack and they're great for crafts like this, and especially when I want to see texture on what I'm working on. And I also really love the texture it gives with the chalk paint on this. It gives it more of a better texture that I like, lifelike in a sense, I guess. So what I'm going to do now is start working on the stem. Now the paint that I chose for the stem is just a regular brown acrylic paint, but I'm also going to kind of dry brush stroke on some coppery bronze color. Okay, I should note the way that I brush my pumpkin stems is with a downward pushing motion. I'm going to show you on this paper plate. I push the brush down and do a forward motion like that around the stem. And you'll be able to see that in the close-up version, but I just wanted to explain what I'm doing. I don't just like to paint a circle, just, you know, do around the stem, because that doesn't really look natural. I found that when I push the brush down like that, it kind of shows the bristle lines and it gives a more natural feel of the way that the stem grows from the pumpkin. So I just feel it looks more natural instead of just like I painted a circle brown stem. So now what I'm going to do, that I have the base coat of the stem done. Now I'm going to take this copper color right here, and I'm going to just kind of take the tips, how they're dried. I don't know if you can see that. And they're kind of bristly, so I want to take it and stamp it down in the paint like this. And then kind of dab them off. So that way I can just do some easy strokes up the stem. Okay, so now that our pumpkin is all painted, the last step I'm gonna do is seal it in a Mod Podge right here. And that'll just keep it protected. And then the very last thing we're going to do is go ahead and adorn our little stem with some ribbon. So let's get started on the Mod Podge. And this just has to be a quick coat. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You just want to get it covered. And make sure that all of your paint on your pumpkin is dry before you apply your Mod Podge. Otherwise, it will smear. Okay guys, now that our pumpkin is covered and sealed, it is ready to have the little stem decorated. So for this pumpkin, I picked out a black and white buffalo plaid ribbon. I also have this orange and white glittery striped ribbon, but I also have a bunch of eucalyptus around the house, dried eucalyptus. So I went on ahead and just clipped off a couple little twigs of that, and I'm gonna kind of just stick it in the ribbon. The thing you want to do is look for the best front facing view that you're gonna see your pumpkin when you set it up and decorate with it. So I think this looks pretty good. Okay guys, I just stuck in the little eucalyptus pieces and finished tying off the ribbon, and this is what we ended up with. Alright, I think it turned out pretty awesome. anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this craft, and I hope you have a wonderful, happy, and healthy fall. So, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.